All right, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to unpack something really exciting, the four-phase journey of scaling machine learning. We're looking at exactly how organizations transition from those isolated, kind of manual experiments all the way up to a fully governed, enterprise-scale production powerhouse. Honestly, if you've ever struggled with getting your ML models out of a research notebook and into the real world reliably, you are absolutely in the right place.
So here's our menu for today. We'll start with the machine learning recipe, then move into Phase 1, the home kitchen, Phase 2, the commercial kitchen, Phase 3, the grand opening, Phase 4, the global franchise, and finally, we'll wrap up with scaling your ML success. Let's jump right in.
Starting off with Section 1, the machine learning recipe. To make these complex AWS architectures intuitive, think of a data scientist as a head chef. And the raw model data? Well, those are their premium ingredients. Now, a great chef with great ingredients can make a wonderful meal once, right? But MLOps, machine learning operations, is the highly automated operational kitchen required to turn those ingredients into a secure, scalable, 5-star dish, one that can be served 1,000 times a night without a single drop in quality.
And that brings us to our roadmap. We're looking at 4 distinct phases of the MLOps maturity ladder. The journey progresses upward, starting from an initial state all the way up to scalable. Every step you take up this ladder reduces friction, it increases security, and it completely standardizes how our chefs deliver their creations to production.
Which leads us to Phase 1, the home kitchen.
Okay, so in this initial phase, the primary objective is really just proving that the machine learning recipe actually works. Basically, can we solve the business problem? But the absolute key here is doing this without risking any live production data. Data scientists are working strictly with isolated snapshots or anonymized samples. For business leaders, this is huge. It means you let your team prove business value without ever putting customer privacy on the line.
In practice, data scientists experiment securely using Amazon SageMaker Studio notebooks. Everything is totally contained within a specific experimentation environment using tailored VPC endpoints. Think of these as private digital pathways. They ensure zero exposure to the internet or your live production systems. It is a completely safe sandbox for our chefs to invent in.
Moving on to Phase 2, the commercial kitchen.
Now, in this phase, the focus drastically shifts. We're moving away from those manual, one-off notebook experiments and focusing entirely on building robust, automated ML training pipelines. We're also standardizing our source code repositories, because let's face it, we need to make sure the process doesn't rely on a single person just remembering what buttons to click.
The crucial point here is that we are literally writing down the exact recipe into automated steps, pre-processing the data, training the model, evaluating its performance, and finally registering it. By orchestrating all of this with SageMaker pipelines, the dish comes out perfectly every single time, with absolutely zero ad hoc, manual console changes required.
What's really interesting here is how the AWS environment physically splits. You get a clear separation between a dedicated tooling account, where your CI/CD pipelines live to automate updates, and the dev account, which is where the actual ML pipelines run. This separation of concerns creates a highly governed, automated, and repeatable ML software factory.
Next up, Phase 3, the grand opening.
Even though our pipelines are completely automated from Phase 2, we obviously can't just blindly push models to our consumers. We have to thoroughly test these newly generated models in an isolated pre-production staging environment, one that perfectly mirrors our live production setup. Think of this as the strict health inspector's final check before the restaurant actually opens its doors.
Before anything goes live to the public, it has to pass rigorous testing. We're checking model KPIs against predefined thresholds. We're running automated integration tests. We even generate a software bill of materials, an SPMO, to ensure supply chain integrity. And crucially, we introduce mandatory human approval gates. A lead data scientist must manually validate readiness before deployment.
These guardrails, they are completely non-negotiable. Controlled rollout patterns, like blue-green deployments that safely swap traffic between old and new models, alongside strict runtime access permissions and automated rollbacks. These are exactly what allow you to securely serve live workloads to your consumers without losing sleep.
Finally, we reach Phase 4, the global franchise.
After successfully productionizing your very first ML solution, the enterprise objective is all about scale. You templatize the entire foundation. By abstracting the best practices from those first 3 phases into reusable blueprints, You can roll out tens or even hundreds of machine learning use cases rapidly across multiple data science teams.
And let me tell you, the business value at this stage is incredible. By using these standardized blueprints, the development time for new solutions drops dramatically from weeks to mere days. And even more impressively, the time it takes to instantiate entirely new, secure MLOps infrastructure for a new team shrinks from 40 days down to under a single hour. That is a massive game changer.
Let's wrap up with Section 6, Scaling Your ML Success.
By methodically climbing these 4 phases, an organization adheres to some core tenets. You get flexibility for your data scientists, true reproducibility of code and results, massive reusability of your pipelines, scalability of resources on demand, auditability for legal and IT, and consistency across all your environments. You basically transform chaotic, isolated research into a highly consistent, endlessly scalable machine learning powerhouse.
So, I'll leave you with this final thought. Take a hard look at your current architecture. Evaluate exactly where your organization stands on this maturity ladder right now. Are your data scientists still trapped cooking isolated experiments in a home kitchen? And if so, what automated pipelines and validation gates will it take for you to turn those brilliant recipes into a secure, fully automated global franchise?